Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox, broadcasting from the Hesselson studio. And this is the Steuben Senior Services Fund section of our program. We're being joined by Pauline, the library director of Southeast Steuben County Library. Good morning.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Well, this is a big time of year for you. May 21st is the big day. What do people need to know about the upcoming library proposition?
Yes, I think one of the most important things to know is that, say you have a home that's $100,000. It's assessed at $100,000. You're currently paying around $35. This would increase. It's 53 cents per thousand, so it would increase to $52 approximately.
Okay.
So, just want to put that out there that you know, if your home's more, you know twice as much, would be twice as much.
Right.
But I think it's important for people to just know what that is. So it's $52 a year for library service. Mm-hmm. That's like $1 a week.
Right. Now, what is the need? People will be asking this. The need for this increase.
So currently, we have a gap that we fill. The library fills. So public funds cover 58% of our budget, which is great. Mm-hmm. But that leaves 42% that we have to make up. That's not sustainable. Mm-hmm. When we 9 years ago went out for our first vote, we haven't done a tax cap override since. So it's just cents per year that it's increased, not even cost of living. And we also didn't own our building. So now we own our building, 2017. Yeah. It's like, surprise! Which is a great thing. But that also comes with that cost. So that wanting to really focus on that capital separate from your operational budget is definitely what we need to do.
And I think one thing that people, I'm not going to say are confused over, but your vote on May 21st is separate, but at the same time a part of the school budget in the sense that people are going to vote at the same time, but otherwise you're completely separate.
We are. It's just a mechanism in New York State. There's certain mechanisms that you can have tax funding, and ours is on their ballot. All they do is collect and disperse the funds. Okay.
Well, and I think it's important for people to know that, because I think they lump them together for some reason. I think that's just the optics of it, I suppose.
Yeah.
But this is actually a cost-saving measure, because if you had a separate vote, those aren't cheap.
No. Yeah, overall, for us to combine, it saves taxpayers overall.
Right.
Because they're at the various locations, but they're not. If we were to have it separate, it would cost more.
Now, when people look at the ballot on May 21st, what are they going to see?
They're going to see, and this is what's confusing too, the whole legal
They don't
language.
make it easy, do they?
No, they're going to see that we're asking for 1.4, and that is what we're asking for. The prior year, where we were asking in the prior years, it's been 911,000. So that prior number is not on there, so they just see the 1.4.
Right.
But that's why I keep focusing on, what does that mean? What is the cost to me? So,
do you think that's going to be a detriment? Because people, they're not going to know what you had in the past, but they're going to see the 1.4. They may not fully realize why you had to increase it.
Yes. So, and a thing that we really want to make sure people know is the library is not increasing their budget.
Right.
Our operational budget is 1.5. We're asking for 1.4. Typically in New York State, libraries are funded by public funds around 90 to 95% of their operational budget. Okay. We compared ourselves with close to 30 libraries that are our size in New York State. We had the lowest, support funding-wise. And, we've known we needed to ask for more. The timing isn't fantastic, of course.
It never is, though.
You got
to ask for more.
It never is.
Yeah.
And also, though, I just feel like you do have to ask yourself, our library's worth it? And I have to tell you, they are. I just, on a daily basis, the things and people we see, we have a healthy daily visit of between 500 to 600 people a day.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's
impressive.
Significant. And it's people using the service for so many reasons. And I think libraries and communities do make communities better. There should be freedom of access. That First Amendment aspect is so important.
Right.
And libraries provide that.
One thing I think is interesting and is worth noting, people maybe didn't realize how essential a library was until COVID hit. Yeah. And then I remember going for a walk. We all had our own crazy things that we did when we were in lockdown. I remember walking over in that direction and just how many people were in the parking lot needing to use Wi-Fi because we're in such a rural area that they had no place to go. And some of that even meant for children in their education.
Yes. we had a few families, but one in particular that I got a chance to talk to, and I asked her if I could share her story. She worked night shift. She would go pick up her kids.
Yeah.
They'd park, and
Yeah.
she would sleep in the front while the kids were doing
kidding.
school in the backseat.
Wow.
Yeah, there was so much of that, and that's also during that time period we expanded our Wi-Fi. So our Wi-Fi actually almost goes to the river. So
Oh, really?
Yeah, you have to check it out.
Wow, that's powerful
So
Wi-Fi.
we put some.
It was interesting seeing the parking lot back then, because
Yes.
that was again when you're trying to avoid everything and everyone.
Absolutely.
So to see it
Yeah.
look like a rock concert almost
Yeah,
over at the
yeah.
library. Everybody, of course, staying safe.
Well, and I know staff
Mm-hmm.
would meet people in the park or in the parking lot and help them. There were people trying to apply for unemployment.
Of course.
People were losing their jobs. And it would be simple things like they couldn't get their email password to work and they didn't know how to do that. We assume everybody knows how to do all these things,
No.
and everything had to be online.
Mm-hmm.
So staff was actually going out. They'd be masked up, like
Yeah.
yelling, "Okay, you need to."
Through the window, yeah. I remember.
We did whatever we had to do.
How has things changed since COVID?
It's interesting because we still do hybrid kind of programs at times. I'm seeing such an increase in people wanting more programming, and our digital access
of
is
course.
increasing significantly. People got more turned on to doing downloadable books and
It's
downloadable
great,
audios.
isn't
And we
it?
have databases like we have LinkedIn Learning where you want to learn how to play a ukulele, you can.
Sure.
Or if you want like Excel, advanced Excel, you can do that for free. So employers should really know about that. That's something I'd love for more organizations and employers in our region to use that. If you have a library card from our library, you can access that. There's no need to have to pay sometimes thousands of dollars to have your employees go for high skills training. You can do that at your own pace with LinkedIn Learning from the library.
And for someone that doesn't have maybe a library card, I think I have one, but what's the statute of limitation on book fines?
So we don't.
No, I'm just kidding.
We
I'm just
don't
kidding.
have fines
No, okay, good.
anymore. So
Okay, so I
They
could be
should be
good.
free
I
and
should
clear.
renew. Okay, I
You
should
should
renew
be
my
good.
my library card.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about some of the services that you offer, because I think you mentioned some there. But for someone that maybe doesn't use the library that often or maybe ever, this may be a hard sell, right? To ask for an
Absolutely.
increase, because
Yeah.
you say, well, I don't go over there. I don't.
Yeah.
And some people still think of the libraries as just books, and
Traditional,
yeah.
yeah.
So what would you say to someone that maybe hasn't used the library in a very long time?
It's such a vibrant place. I always refer to it like walking in a beehive, and I mean that in a good way.
Yeah.
In children's, you'll see the weekly story programs. You'll have the GED classes BOCES putting on
Sure.
at the other end of the library. You'll have Coffee, Tea, and English, which is a ESL type conversational English program
interesting.
that happens after that. Then you have like the gaming crew that comes in, and it's all different ages playing games, board games. And then you have your traditional library users. You have people coming in because their printer doesn't work,
Right.
or I have this on my flash drive, I need it printed, I need a fax. At that same time, there's staff in other locations. We do lots of outreach, so the schools, daycares, they're all getting visits from the library, and it's that promoting literacy, which we know is another thing, lesson learned from COVID, how vital and important that is. And that was something that I really see people like the light bulb going off.
Right.
Like, we need to get our kids in the library to physically take out books.
Right.
And it's happening.
That's great.
Use is increasing, not just digitally, but internally, people checking things out. And just the community room space. We have organizations, we have groups of people, anywhere from, knitters, or say there was like a Bible study group, or a Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, you
sure.
name it.
Well, it's a great conference.
They're using
Yeah.
the rooms. So it's a community space above everything. I think it's just that connecting people with resources and each other.
Have you seen an increase in, for lack of a better term, attendance to the library in these last few years? As a steady, so it's steady?
It's steady, and it's getting closer to pre-pandemic levels.
Okay.
In fact, teen use and children's use are
Yeah.
close to what they were before.
Oh, that's great.
So that makes me happy, and even adult programming is going up. We're getting more requests for programs. our programs fill up quickly. We would love to provide even more, but it's just keeping up with the demand, which is a positive thing.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Just out of pure curiosity, do you find that it's still more people renting out the hardcover books or hard copy books, or is it more going the e-book way?
Still predominantly hardcover, but exponentially, it's like, oh goodness, 100. So we have Hoopla, and Hoopla is a service where you can download movies. You can get books instantly online.
Oh, wow.
You can get audios online with no waiting, and from inception, that's increased 118%. I mean, that's the kind of leaps and bounds that we're seeing. Of course, those things cost.
Of course.
But that's what people want, and we want to provide that. People pay for streaming services. They pay for their smartphones, and it's more than $52.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Very true. So I'm just like, if you don't use it, use it. Yeah. It's a tax that you can actually turn around and use, and the money stays local. What
happens if this proposition fails?
Sadly, there's no way to keep up with that demand if the funding's not there. Staffing, all that sort of thing is contingent on us balancing the mandates that we have through New York State and wanting to provide the best service as possible. It's just, it wouldn't be good.
Yeah. We're talking about the vote on May 21st. It's the same location where you go to vote on school board and the school budget. It's from 11 till 8. Just before we go, what would you say to the viewer out there before they head into the vote, into the booth? I guess it's not a booth anymore.
Yeah, I've done a lot of thinking about this, and the one thing that always comes to my mind is I think about what kind of community do I want to be a part of? What kind of community do I want to live in? What do I prioritize? And I always think like the education aspect, and that doesn't end with school. It includes school, but it's from birth to when you're a senior. That lifelong living, there has to be places when you're within your community that support that, and there's no better places than libraries. And
where can people find out more about the services that you provide and offer?
So you could look at our website. It's www.sscllibrary.org.
Okay. Yep. Well, thanks so much for doing this, and everybody get out and vote. Mark your calendar. May 21st is the vote, and best of luck.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox, stay with us.